Welcome back, everybody. This is the thejonnymar, and I am continuing with Final Fantasy III for the PSP. So in my last episode, we got our third party member. We got an airship, actually, and we got sent over here to the castle to see if we could find a Mithril Ring in order to end the curse of a local Djinn that has cursed everyone with kind of this really odd curse, which is to turn them all into kind of quote-unquote ghosts, right? They don't look like your traditional ghosts. They're kind of invisible, sort of. Part of them is. They're more of an outline kind of figure. And so we're meeting with this person here named Ingus, and he will actually become our fourth party member. Now, not right now. We actually have to talk to the king first, which he is going to arrange an audience with. And then once we talk to the king, he will join our party. So he is the last of our permanent party members. So once this is completed, we will have all four of the characters we will have for the rest of the game. So we're going to head right to the throne room, but en route we're also going to be talking to the various ghosts we find to get information about what's going on. Now, it's interesting that the princess's name is Sara. For those of you that, of course, have played the original, the princess's name in Final Fantasy I was also Sara. Now, it was Sara with an H, unless you played the original NES version, in which case I think it was Sara without the H. I like some of the chutzpah, so to speak, right, of some of these characters who are like, man, if I wasn't cursed, I would totally go take out that Djinn. Now, if you need to heal, like let's say you were doing some level grinding or something like that before coming into the castle, you can sleep in those beds over there, and they will fully restore you on the first floor. You'll notice there are some treasure chests. We will get to those in a little bit. But first we want to talk to the guards, and then we will talk to the king as well. So there is a sword called White Slayer that we can get in a tower that's nearby. That's good. We will grab that before we head out. And then they tell you about the fact that undead enemies can actually be harmed by healing magic, which really comes into play when you fight certain enemies. But here's the king, and so he has been cursed as well. These younglings. Hey, we are the crystal bearers. Well, I guess we're not yet, right? So in the original we were, but at this point we haven't yet gotten to that point, because they kind of drag things out here until we actually get access to our job system. So the king mentions he does not have the ring. Princess Sara actually took the ring and she has disappeared. So our job is twofold. We want to try to find the princess, a nice little callback to the first game when you had to save Princess Sara from Garland. And then we also want to find that Mithril Ring and take out the Djinn. So Ingus is going to join us. He is a loyal soldier of the Sasune army. And, of course, we are going to allow him to join us because the more the merrier. Now, this game also utilizes, for the first time, a secondary character system. So you actually will get guest characters that join your party. Now, in the original, they didn't do anything besides join you for kind of plot-related sort of situations. But in this version, they actually added them that they can randomly show up during battle. And so they will do oftentimes one of two types of attacks, either a physical attack or a magical attack. Some of the secondary characters, the guest characters, will actually alternate between multiple magic attacks, depending on, again, which character it is. We're going to get our first guest character very soon. So now that we have the approval of the king to continue onward, we're going to equip Ingus because obviously he will be with us for the rest of the duration of the game. And we're going to put on some new equipment to make sure that he is outfitted and ready to go as a freelancer here. We'll give him the Mithril Helm just for the heck of it. And then we will also go through the castle here and loot. So there's a lot of stuff for us to grab. So notice those treasure chests. Now, when you come down to this floor, you'll notice in the walls there are kind of these weird broken spots. That's an indication that you can actually move through the wall. Now, every wall isn't like that. Sometimes there are actually spots you can go through that are not marked with that sort of indication. But if you see one of those indications, it's usually a good sign that you can actually go through and find a hidden area. So we get some gold, and this basement area is actually not important right now, but remember it because it will become important in a little while, once we finish off the Djinn. So we have a little bit more to grab. A few more treasure chests. Nothing going on in these boxes up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to head around the corner here. You'll notice there's kind of that wall in the background in the distance. Once we grab these, which is a new blizzard spell as well as a new shield, and we're going to teach the blizzard spell to Ingus. So he will learn it, meaning all of our characters now have some sort of magic equipped. But you'll notice there is that spot, that broken spot in the wall, which allows us to head back here and grab another chest, which has some bronze knuckles. So that will be helpful for a future job class. We're not so interested right now because a lot of our other weapons are, well, I think the bronze knuckles are technically stronger than like the daggers and stuff like that, but I've never equipped them. You can decide if you want to do so. But that's about it for in here. So our next task then is to head up into the towers. So there are 2 towers in this castle. The first tower is here on the right side, and that is a tower that leads to the princess's room. And she is not adverse to Ingus going into her room. So maybe there's something going on between the two of them. Now it's pretty clear throughout the game that Ingus has feelings for the princess. Now whether she does for him, that's a little less clear. Maybe, maybe not. The reason we're going to climb all the way to the top is because there are things for us to pick up. We can get a bow and arrow set, some new arrows for us to equip, and then at the top we can meet with the attendant of the princess, as well as grab a few more treasure chests. Aw, she was praying for Ingus. How nice. Now the other tower is actually filled with enemies. So we can rest in the bed. Let's rest anyway. Let's show off what happens when you rest in the bed. And then we'll head to the other tower, which we will climb and fight some new enemies. I slept like a log. Alright, so let's head over to the other tower. There's nothing to the north there, it's just some battlements. Nothing going on. So in this tower, you can actually get attacked by enemies. Most of the enemies are undead, which means they are weak to fire, as well as curing spells. So you can decide how you want to attack them. I'm just going to use physical attacks. It's the easiest and most efficient. Now in here, you can kind of decide. There is a boss at the top, so when we get to the top and find the treasure chest, we're going to get the White Killer, or Slayer, or whatever it is. And it's being guarded by a monster in a box. So our first sort of mini-boss encounter. Obviously, we took on the land turtle way back at the beginning of the game. And we'll activate auto here just to speed things up. But you want to make sure you're in good shape going into that battle, because the boss can be difficult unless you're around level 5. So since I'm not necessarily going to be at level 5 with everybody, I'm going to make sure I have everyone basically at the best possible that they can be. So I'm going to try to minimize encounters if possible, keep my strength up, and then we'll take on that encounter. Feel free to leave, go rest in the princess's bed or the beds on the first floor if you need to, and save outside. That's generally a good idea, because obviously if you die and you haven't saved recently, then you're going to have to redo all the dialogue, you're going to have to redo all the encounters, and so on and so forth. So it takes a little extra time to run out and save, but in the long run, it's probably worth it. Nice, criticals. It's really nice how much quicker it goes with auto battle on. Sorry that if you're playing the DS version, you do not have access to auto battle. But I think it's on the PC version, and it's definitely on this version, which is the PSP version. Like how Ingus is kind of standing there, all stoic. So we'll gain some levels, some job levels. Then we will continue upward. Onward and upward. So there's the chest. Make sure we're ready before we head into the encounter. We'll heal everybody up, and then we'll take it on. So we get the White Slayer, but it's a trap. Thank you, Admiral Akbar. So we take on the Griffon. Now, in this game, you can actually equip items once you grab them. So in later games in the series, once you pick up an item from a chest, you can't actually use it in a battle if there's a monster in a box. But this game lets you do it. But once you've obtained the item, you can actually use it in that battle, which is helpful because the White Slayer is a very powerful sword. Now, traditionally, it can only be equipped by red mages, and that is the case in the NES version. But in this game, since freelancers can equip pretty much most of the equipment in the game, they can equip it. So what we're going to do for our attack pattern is we're going to use Blizzard with Ingus. We're going to use our physical attacks with everybody else, and then we're going to heal as needed. And you do want to keep your HP at least above 25 to 30, because the Griffon can actually hit you pretty hard with some of its attacks. So we're going to use potions, we're going to use cure spells as needed, just to make sure everyone is kept in pretty good shape. Because dying here again is not good. And remember, you can't revive characters because Phoenix Downs are not easy to come by. You can't buy them in this game. So you would have to go all the way to the first town and use the revival spring in order to bring them back. So that's why we're going to continue to use potions. Again, it's pretty conservative. As long as you're around 25, you're generally okay. Provided your level, right? Obviously, if you're higher level, like 5, 6, 7, then you can be higher hit points, and it's fine. Or even lower hit points. But there we go. Take out the Griffon, get some experience, get a little bit of gold, gain some experience, and then we're going to head outside and continue onward. So we healed, we equipped people with everybody, we're all set to go, and now our job is to find the princess. So the only place we can really go is the northern cave. So we're going to use our airship to head across this little body of water here. You'll notice a cave. So we're going to save before we head into the cave. So once inside, this is the sealed cave. It's pretty straightforward. There's a few little side paths you can go down in order to get new items, and most of the enemies are pretty easy to defeat, provided you're around, again, level 4 to 5. So again, most of them are going to be weak to fire / healing spells. You don't necessarily want to be burning through your magic, because it can be helpful against the Djinn, which is the boss of the area. So that's entirely up to you. You do want to be careful of certain ailments that you can be afflicted with, so you can get blinded, you can get silenced, etc. So be careful. Some of the enemies are nasty in that way. But I'm going to show you all of the items you can pick up. Again, you can decide if you want to or not. Some of them aren't that great. In general, I'm going to try to grab everything I can. So a single potion, not the greatest, but certainly worth picking up. And to the north here, we'll have another item box, and that has another cure spell. Pretty good. So who do we want to equip it on? Well, let's give it to Ark, since he's kind of our white mage style freelancer so far. And we got some demonic coins here. That miss sound is kind of annoying. Characters, again, at this point in the game, don't have the greatest accuracy, so you may find yourself missing pretty often. So we'll keep ourselves in good shape. I'm probably going to end up leaving here before I take on the boss just to save and heal again, and then run back to the boss and actually beat him. It's only a few screens, so it's not too bad. But we're actually almost to our first encounter with our first guest character. So we'll head south here, grab this chest, get some more gold, and then you'll notice this suspicious skull here. We'll zoom in on it and see that we can access it. Click a switch, seemingly inside of its eye socket. and then the wall will go away, and on the other side is, lo and behold, the princess. But of course, we will have an encounter first. So there's Princess Sara. Howdy, princess. Showing off your midriff. Got some very ornate sorts of jewelry on. So we mentioned we need the Mithril Ring. And then she says, well, you don't need it. I'll go with you. It's my job as the princess. We're like, we're the heroes. We've been heroes for like a half hour now. We totally should do it ourselves, but I guess you can come along. The puppy here, the love-starved puppy, will watch over you. And then we get the join music. Woo! So Princess Sara will use a curing spell on your party randomly in battle. You can speak to her actually by using the square button. So we'll do that, and you can see some of the dialogue you can get. And then she also, I think, uses an attack spell of some kind, but I'm not sure. It might be arrow. Might be fire, ice. I'm not 100% sure. I'll look it up and I'll let you know next time. But we're going to call it there for this episode. So hopefully you all enjoyed. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you all next time when we will get to the Djinn. And we will take on the Djinn and try to banish this curse so that the people in this area are no longer ghosts. So long.